I never intended to shatter the illusion. Not here. Not tonight. The restaurant's ambient glow warmed the elegant walls, the delicate chime of champagne flutes punctuated by a rising tide of laughter. Every single person had gathered for her closest friends, beloved family, dedicated colleagues, all celebrating the woman I once believed was the undisputed center of my universe. But as she leaned across the pristine tablecloth, her familiar perfume wafting towards me like a cruel, fragrant taunt, she whispered with a playful, yet utterly misplaced pout, "Why so quiet, my love?" A searing burn ignited in my throat. The words I had desperately tried to suppress clawed their way upwards, an unstoppable surge. And before I could rein myself in, I spoke them. "Because you slept with him last night." The vibrant laughter around us abruptly ceased, extinguished as completely as a candle flame snuffed out in a sudden, violent gust of wind. Just the night before, a creeping dread had settled in my gut for weeks. Clara had grown increasingly distant, her phone an impenetrable fortress, her smile never quite reaching the depths of her eyes when she looked at me. She'd begun taking on suspiciously late shifts, a curious development for someone who worked in marketing, not in emergency services. But intuition, however sharp, lacks tangible proof, and I had yearned, with every fiber of my being, to be wrong. So, when she announced she was meeting a client the evening before her birthday, I told her, "All right, I'll manage dinner by myself." She delivered a fleeting, almost dismissive kiss before hurrying out the door. A cold, heavy stone settled in my stomach, a persistent, gnawing feeling of unease. I snatched my jacket and, dousing my headlights, followed her car, my heart a frantic drumbeat against my ribs. She didn't drive to her office. She didn't drive anywhere remotely near it. She drove straight to a hotel. I sat paralyzed in the parking lot, my palms slick with cold sweat, and watched her gracefully step out of her vehicle. And then I saw him, Julian. Not merely an acquaintance, but Julian, my confidant. The man who'd shared countless late-night poker games, who'd freely borrowed tools from my garage, who had stood as a pillar of support, toasting us on our wedding day. They made no attempt to conceal their intimacy. They walked in together, her arm brushing his, their bodies intimately close, unnervingly familiar. I wanted to storm inside, to unleash the fury simmering within, but something in me froze. The kind of profound freeze where your heart comprehends the devastating truth long before your brain can process the sheer magnitude of it. So, I just remained there, suspended in disbelief, and I waited. 2 agonizing hours later, they reemerged, her hair disheveled, his tie loosened, their carefree laughter piercing my chest like a volley of sharpened knives. I drove home in a profound, suffocating silence. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply went utterly still inside. Now, less than 24 hours later, at her birthday celebration, I sat amidst oblivious guests, each one blissfully unaware of the truth that had hollowed me out entirely. She reached for my hand across the table, her smile dazzling for everyone else, yet a hollow mockery to me. "Why so quiet?" And that's when I articulated it. The room descended into a suffocating, dead silence. Forks, laden with food, froze suspended halfway to mouths. My brother shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Her best friend's wine glass trembled precariously in her hand. Clara's dazzling smile faltered, her voice a strained whisper. "WH, what are you talking about?" I leaned back, my voice steady, but infused with glacial coldness. "Last night, the Grand Lux Hotel, room 213. You and Julian." "Shall I continue?" Gasps rippled around the table, a hushed chorus of, "Oh my God." Julian wasn't there, thank goodness, but his absence only amplified the crushing weight of my words. Clara's face drained entirely of color. That's not what you think. I can explain." "Explain what?" My voice cracked despite my desperate attempt to maintain composure. "The way you intimately touched his arm walking inside? Or how you laughed with him, so casually, after 2 hours upstairs?" Her mother looked utterly horrified, Clara, tell me this isn't true. Clara's lips trembled uncontrollably. It was a mistake. Just once. I didn't mean to. Didn't mean to? Those utterly hollow words shattered something irretrievably within me. The breaking point. I rose slowly, the abrasive scrape of my chair against the floor echoing unnervingly in the profound silence. Every eye in the room was fixed on me. Happy birthday, Clara, I said, my voice dangerously calm. I truly hope he was worth it. She reached for me, desperation etched across her face. Wait. Please don't do this here. But it was already done. I walked out of the restaurant, the frigid night air striking my face like a slap, jolting me into a raw, painful awareness. My legs felt like lead, my chest constricted painfully, but I kept walking, driven by an unseen force, until I reached my car. For a moment, I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel, my body trembling uncontrollably. Then the tears came. Not quiet, dignified tears, but the raw, ugly, broken kind that tear through your very soul, leaving you gasping for air. I thought of the countless nights we'd stayed up, meticulously planning our shared future. The mornings she'd kissed me, still half asleep. The sacred promises we'd exchanged at the altar. All of it. The aftermath was brutal. She arrived home later that night, mascara streaked across her face, her hair a disheveled mess from relentless crying. Please, just talk to me, she begged, standing forlornly in the doorway of what had been our bedroom. I sat on the edge of the bed, an open suitcase beside me, its emptiness a metaphor. Talk. You already spoke volumes when you chose him. It didn't mean anything. Her voice broke, pleading. I was drunk. I felt neglected. Stop. I held up a hand, my chest aching with an unbearable pain. Don't you dare try to pin this on me. A heavy silence stretched between us, thick with unspoken accusations and shattered dreams. She looked small, fragile, almost pathetic, but I could no longer summon any pity. I loved you more than anything, I whispered, the words ragged. And you burned it all down for him. She dropped to her knees, clutching my arm, her grip desperate. Please don't leave. We can fix this. We can go to therapy. I gently but firmly pulled free. No, Clara. You killed us. Therapy doesn't bring the dead back to life. In the days that followed, word of the incident spread like wildfire. Her friends slowly withdrew, a visible shift in their loyalty. My family rallied around me, offering solace, but even their unwavering comfort couldn't fill the cavernous hollow that had formed inside me. Julian tried calling me, a flurry of missed calls. I never picked up. Eventually, his number ceased appearing on my screen. Clara sent a barrage of messages daily, heartfelt apologies, desperate pleas, fervent promises of change. I never replied. At night, I lay awake in the impersonal apartment I'd rented after moving out, staring blankly at the ceiling, replaying every single moment of our shared marriage. Was she lying when she said she loved me? Did she ever truly mean it? Or was I merely a convenient placeholder until something better or more exciting came along? The questions relentlessly gnawed at me, but ultimately, the answers ceased to matter. The truth was starkly simple. She betrayed me, and no excuse, no apology, however sincere, could ever erase that indelible fact. 6 months later, the divorce proceedings were brutal, emotionally draining. She desperately attempted to salvage something, money, assets, even a shred of sympathy, but her string of lies had irrevocably stripped her of any credibility. When the final papers were signed, I walked out of that courthouse feeling lighter, yes, but undeniably scarred. One evening, many months after everything had irrevocably ended, I ran into her by sheer chance at a grocery store. She looked noticeably thinner, older somehow, as if the immense weight of her choices had etched new, unforgiving lines into her face. She forced a small, fragile smile. Hi. I nodded curtly. Hi. An agonizing, awkward silence stretched between us, laden with unspoken histories. Finally, she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'm sorry. For everything." I studied her for a long, quiet moment. There had been a time, a lifetime ago it seemed, when those words would have held profound meaning, perhaps even offered solace. Now they were just empty air. "I know," I said softly, devoid of emotion, and then I simply walked away. Sometimes, even now, I still hear her voice echoing in my mind, laughing, whispering promises, asking, "Why so quiet?" And I remember that dreadful birthday dinner when the crushing truth finally broke free. Why was I so quiet? Because my heart was already splintering into a million pieces. Because the love I'd cherished had turned to bitter ashes in my chest. Because the woman I thought I knew, the woman I had built a life with, had chosen betrayal over us. But now, when the silence descends, it no longer feels like the suffocating weight of grief. It feels like the liberating breath of freedom. Thank you for listening to this echo tale. Arthur's story is a raw and honest look at the agony of betrayal and the long, difficult road to healing. It reminds us that sometimes, the most profound peace comes after the hardest truths are spoken. What are your thoughts on Arthur's decision to expose the truth at the birthday dinner? Have you ever had a moment where the silence became too heavy to bear? Share your experiences and reflections in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the Echo Tales community for more powerful stories that resonate with the human spirit.